How can a man learn in the struggle against his vices an amount that is enough, if the time he gives to learning is the only amount left over from his vices? This question, posed by the ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca, is more relevant today than ever before. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded by distractions and temptations that pull us away from our path to self-improvement. We are like soldiers in an army, marching in a hollow square, always on guards against attacks from every direction. But unlike soldiers, our enemies are not external forces, but our own vices and weaknesses. Let's take a journey back in time to the era of Seneca. He lived in a time of great turmoil and change, much like our own. The Roman Empire was at its peak, a beacon of civilization amidst a sea of chaos. But even in this golden age, men were not immune to the struggles of the human condition. Seneca observed that many of his contemporaries were led astray by fleeting and deceptive pleasures. They sought joy in feasting and political power and romantic affairs, but these were merely causes of grief. Our story begins with Alexander the Great. Alexander was constantly flattered by the people around him that he began to believe that he was immortal. He then believed himself to be the son of Jupiter, invincible, until an arrow wounded him. Only then did he cry out, "All men swear that I'm the son of Jupiter, but this wound cries out that I am immortal." Now, let's fast forward to our present day. We may not be emperors or generals, but we face the same internal battles. We chase after wealth, status, and sensual pleasures, believing that they will bring us happiness. But like the Romans of Seneca's time, we find ourselves ensnared in a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. Yet, amidst this cycle, there is hope. Seneca teaches us that the path to true joy lies not in external possessions or achievements, but in the cultivation of virtue. The wise man, he tells us, is fortified against all attacks. He is not swayed by the fluctuations of fortune, for his joy springs from the knowledge that he possesses the virtues of bravery, justice, and self-restraint. Now, let's delve deeper into this concept of virtue. What does it mean to be brave, to be just, and to be self-restrained in our modern world? Bravery, in the Stoic sense, is not just about physical courage, but also moral courage. It's about standing up for what's right, even when it's unpopular and inconvenient. It's about facing our fears and insecurities and not letting them dictate our actions. Justice is about treating others with fairness and respect, regardless of their status and background. It's about recognizing the inherent dignity of every human being and striving to create a society where everyone has the opportunity to flourish. Self-restraint is about controlling our desires and impulses and not letting them control us. It's about understanding that true satisfaction comes not from indulging in every pleasure, but from living in accordance with reason and virtue. But how do we calculate these virtues? Seneca suggests that it starts with self-awareness. We need to recognize our vices and our weaknesses, and not be too readily satisfied with ourselves. In our modern context, this could mean acknowledging our addiction to technology, our obsession with wealth and status, or our tendency to judge others based on superficial criteria. It could mean recognizing that we often seek validation and approval from others rather than finding it within ourselves. But recognizing our vices is just the first step. We also need to actively combat them, to struggle against our own salvation with all our might. And this is not an easy task. It requires discipline, perseverance, and a willingness to step out of our comfort zone. We have to ask ourselves, why is it that our bad habits are so hard to overcome? Seneca thinks that it is because we do not fight them strongly enough and that we do not put sufficient trust in the discoveries of the wise. We do not listen to the wise with open hearts. We want to criticize and defend our wrong opinions. This is because we believe ourselves to be the best of men. What hinders most humans is that we are too readily satisfied with ourselves. We agree with those who declare us to be the best and the wisest of men. Although we know that they are given to much lying, and we believe what they say, thus it follows that we are unwilling to be reformed just because we believe ourselves to be the best of men. Yet, the reward for fighting for a great character is worth the effort. For Seneca tells us, the wise man is joyful, happy, and calm, unshaken, living on a plane with the gods. This is the joy that we all seek, the joy that is unbroken and continuous, the joy that springs from the knowledge that we possess a great character. As we embark on this journey towards wisdom and virtue, we may face obstacles and setbacks. We may falter and stumble, as we are only human and not sages. But remember, the path to wisdom is not a straight line, but a winding road filled with peaks and valleys. In these moments of struggle, let's draw inspiration from our various heroes who have walked this path before us. Think of Nelson Mandela, who endured 27 years in prison, yet emerged with a spirit of forgiveness and reconciliation that healed a nation. Or Malala, who stood up for the right to education despite being shot by the Taliban. These individuals embody the Stoic virtues of bravery, justice, and self-restraint. They faced adversity with courage and resilience and turned their trials into opportunities for growth and transformation. In my experience, transformation does not happen overnight. It is a gradual process, a constant battle against old habits and ingrained patterns. I normally feel like I hit a wall and I'm not getting better despite my efforts. I recently realized that this is the normal part of the learning curve. Journaling my failures and successes helps me to keep my soul on my lips so that whenever I am in face of a challenge, I can remember my ideal behavior. I love Seneca's reminder that let's try to be virtuous and courageous in life so that we do not have to go back 500 years for an example of a great character. As we move forward, let's carry Seneca's teachings with us. Let's strive to be like the wise man who is fortified against all inroads, who isn't swayed by the vicissitudes of fortune, who finds joy in the knowledge that he possesses the virtues. In doing so, we will not only improve our lives, but also contribute to a better world. For Seneca reminds us, the path to joy is not in external possessions or achievements, but in the cultivation of virtue. Seneca warns that the pursuit of joy amid riches, titles, and pleasures is a path leading to grief, not happiness. Some seek joy in self-indulgence, some in the pursuit of honors, some in love, some in idle displays of culture and literature. All are misled by fleeting delights, paying a heavy price for a temporary ecstasy. But the joy derived from wisdom is unbroken and continuous. The source of this joy is not external, it lies in possessing virtues. Only the brave, the just, the self-restrained can truly rejoice. The joy of the foolish and wicked, Seneca suggests, is like that of a lion who has just caught his prey. Sure, there is a momentary satisfaction, but it's ephemeral, often followed by a lingering emptiness. So let's take up this challenge. Let's strive to be brave, to be just, and to be self-restrained. Let's seek joy, not in fleeting pleasures, but in the pursuit of wisdom and virtue. For in the end, it is not our vices, but our virtues that define us. Let's remember, how can a man learn in the struggle against his vices an amount that is enough, if the time he gives to learning is the only amount left over from his vices? Let's make the time, let's make the effort, let's make the change.